Hello, listeners. Welcome to the Dream Stream podcast. I am Yiskah Cook.
And I'm Ellen Ronis.
We're here to do dream work. So we started by having a conversation, you and I, Ellen, about when something strikes you differently than it had some years ago. And I was hoping you could elaborate on that.
Yeah, sure. I was just telling Yiskah that I have a painting that I did in 2012. And I even remember doing the painting. It was at a workshop, and I was really frustrated because I wasn't able to sort of do these realistic things that people were doing. And I was like, just frustrated. And my instructor was like, just do whatever comes out. So I was using these really dark colors and whatever, just like all over the page. I didn't know what I was doing. And when I finished this thing, I was like, whatever. I put it aside. I even folded it in half, which is like sacrilege for a piece of art. Absolute sacrilege.
Oh
But I was like, this sucks. It's shit. I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't even know why I kept it. But I folded it. It's big. Folded it in half, shoved it in a little portfolio. And then like years later, took it out. And I was like, you know what? This is a pretty cool piece. This has a lot going on. So I scotch taped it up onto my wall. And for like a year, I had it literally scotch taped up on the wall. And I thought, finally,
misused and abused your painting. So
finally decided to go ahead and have it framed. And I'm looking at it right now, and it is beautiful. I mean, it's a really great piece of art I just love it. Like, I see so much more in it, I think is what it is. It's like, because I wasn't doing it the way I was supposed to, I say that in quotes, air quotes. I was frustrated, and I thought it was shit because it wasn't what everyone else was doing or the way I thought it was supposed to be, or it wasn't, a classical kind of painting. And I realized like there's so much soul in it. There's so much imagery. There's like a whole thing going on in it. Yeah, it's really cool. Wow. So yeah. So I don't know what the moral of that story is, but
I think, if I may project on your story, I think the moral is we're not always in a place where we can receive and appreciate. And I know that's so for a lot of writers when we write, and then we're like, it goes one of two ways. Either it's like, this is crap. What am I thinking? It's not at all what I want to do. Or like me, you could be like, oh, I think this is really good. And then when you read it later, like, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Go one of two ways. I guess it depends on your temperament.
Yes, or just the moment in general,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I've had those moments too where I thought something was pretty great, and then later on I was like, what was I talking about?
Yeah. So yeah, you were saying you're just living life, and similarly just living life right now.
Life, yeah. There's so much going on in the world, and there's just so much sadness and pain, and I don't know that I really want it. We don't know what we're referencing, and it's just, and I'll say that, just on a personal note, it's really affected my business, which I don't 100% understand the connection, but I know it has to have to do with that, because people are canceling, they're taking a break. I'm saying that in air quotes too, for those who aren't seeing me. They're taking a break, which could mean they're just taking a break and they'll call me in a month or 6 weeks or 2 months. But taking a break usually means I'm going away, and and so I have very regular, steady clients. Generally, that's always been the style of my business. So it's like, wow, this is interesting. Like, I mean, it's a little frightening, financially speaking. I'm trying to go there and just trust that everything will have a cycle. But it's like, wow, it's even affecting my massage practice. You'd think people would really need that now, to de-stress. But I think people just get scared when things in the world feel so insecure, even though it's not necessarily affecting our finances yet. This will start to have like a cumulative effect, which is a bummer.
I might also look at it as this is quieting down over here while I'm ramping up this over here. I feel like so much dreamers, so much in transition in really positive ways. And kind of view that from the perspective of positive. It's not there so that I won't be able to make ends meet financially. It's there to kind of give me a kick in the butt.
Yeah, no, I agreed. And I have, in all my years of doing this kind of work and other kinds of depth work in myself, I'm really learning. I'll just say I'm continuing to learn to see things that way, to see things where, I can have my feelings about this is a little scary, but I don't have to live there. I don't have to, I don't have to live there. Just an example of that is in the middle of the night, a couple of nights ago, I have this thing sometimes where I get up like whatever, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and my mind starts to spin and I can get extremely anxious. And I started to do that. I started to like do my numbers in my head. Like, oh my God, if I see this many clients, oh my God, I'm going to have to get a job. I started to, and I was like, nope, 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 no. I stopped myself. And then I just sort of calmed down because I was like, you know how this goes. You've been in cycles like this before. Started to fall asleep. And then this is a good segue into dreams. I had an image. It was really not quite a dream because I was aware. I was still awake, but I was in that like liminal state where I was about to fall asleep. And the image was that I'm in some kind of a big conference center or something, and there's a clipboard being passed around, and people are putting their names and email addresses on this clipboard, and it's for me. They're giving me their emails, which is exactly what I need for my business
awesome.
in waking life. And I was like, I was really proud of myself, for stopping the negative. Because if I kept that going, I would have become very, very anxious.
Right.
And I would have been able to fall back asleep, and it would have been good for nothing and nobody. So
yes. So that's an awesome dream image. So we were talking that neither Ellen nor I have necessarily an epic story dream, but let me just speak for myself. I have some dream images that that I think are going to bring us back to the things that we not necessarily want to talk about, but that's fine because we have to pay heed and give honor to our unconscious minds and what comes to us in dreams.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. And I do think those little snippets or images are very rich and deep. They don't need to be a big epic. Sometimes the big epic things are so complex, I never can quite figure them all out. So
no, not Jeremy Taylor. Stephen Larson, our teacher, Dr. Stephen Larson, used to say, like, beware of the snippet. That will take you far if you really.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And, we've talked about this, probably quite a few times on this podcast, but, I'll just reiterate that the mind, your soul, your spirit, whatever, if all you remember is a snippet, that's like that's it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It doesn't matter if the dream contained a million other elements. If that's what you remember, there's significance.
Right.
Yeah.
I think when we ask using Robert Moss's lightning dream work method, and we ask, what would you like to know from this dream? And then the person kind of reaches to the meat of the dream.
Right.
Is that meat? So it have all the veggies and
right, all the side dishes.
Side dishes, but yes.
Yeah. And also I think the title, like titling a dream, I used to get frustrated because I didn't know, I didn't like that part of the dream. The dream, recall, whatever it's called. Can't think. The lightning dream work. I didn't like having to put a title, but I think the title also gets to the meat. It gets to what's unconscious about what's important, even if it doesn't seem like that.
And that's why I think Robert Moss says, write a bumper sticker.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, the bumper, right.
Retrieving and that's always been hard for me.
Yeah. Well, the bumper sticker is almost like what I got. What did I glean from all of the work around the dream? Like, what was the conclusion that I came to? That's how I see the bumper sticker.
It's the in an acorn, like the thumb.
Right, in a nutshell. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. I don't think it's an acorn. Okay, so will you share first?
Sure. Okay, couple of things. So I a couple of nights ago, I'm dreaming that I'm needing to get something removed from my neck. Like that there's something wrong with my neck, but I don't know what's wrong with my neck and I feel fine, but um like somehow in the front of my throat. And the person who is going to do it disappeared. She was a young, maybe Asian young woman. And then it felt like there was some kind of a chase, like I'm running after her or trying to find her. And I'm like, wait, you just, leaving me hanging here with this thing I need to remove. And then when I woke up, I was like coughing a little bit. So it could just be that my body, my dream work was processing that, I had something in my throat or what dry throat.
Right. There's always that, what's going on in my physical body, to have stomach ache from something I ate.
Right.
And it also can be a lot of like waking, what did we call that, residue? Waking life residue, like, okay, this is happening and this is happening. But even with that, there's a deeper. If one believes everything has a meaning, then that too might mean.
Yeah. Well, of course, we make our own meaning. So what I could say, throat is like, being choked off, not speaking my full truth, not expressing myself, well, getting stuck. Could be that. I don't.
There's something in my life that I don't feel that I've completely expressed myself, and there's still more that I need to say.
Yeah, I could definitely say that there's truth to that. Yeah. I feel sometimes like I have so much to say, and not just in words, but in art, in writing, in teaching, in facilitating, in spiritual work. Like I feel like there's so much I want to do, and it's almost too much. It's almost like cut it out, just cut it out of me, so I can just have it. So I can see, oh, that's what it is. That's actually interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah, it's like it's too much. I don't even know what to say or what, yeah. And then before that, several nights before that, the snippet was that I'm in a kind of a building, like a apartment building, and there's like a wave. I don't know if it was a wave or like just water from the shore, whether it was a lake or ocean, I don't really know, came up so far, not high up, but up so far that it went right underneath the building and kind of, worked its way back out. And that just seemed like a significant image also.
If I may dive right into purification,
Sure.
Ivan, it feels to me there's I equate water with emotion, as we've spoken about, and it seems like there's something quite emotional for me under my conscious mind. So I'm going to have to really feel into that, because it's something that needs to be, freed or let back into the open air,
Do you see like the building as being like what like what's
right?
Yourself, right? Yourself, yeah, yourself.
So then the basement is like the unconscious, and the water. There's that, to me, that my projection is, it means emotions under the surface, and I might not be aware of them yet. But
yeah, that seems correct.
Yeah,
that resonates with me. Yeah, that there's things that are they're getting there because I'm seeing it now in the dream. I'm seeing that there's something there, at least, and
an apartment building, it makes me think of the many facets. You were just saying it's too much, there's too many things. It's all these things, and that's my apartment building. It's all part of me.
Like layers. I see it as layers of myself.
Yes.
Right. And I'm in there. I'm in there somewhere, but I don't know where I am in the building. But I'm in the building somewhere, not on top, not in the bottom, somewhere.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting.
Not in the basement.
Not in the basement and not on the like roof or the top, like
Interesting.
nothing recognizably like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then yesterday, this was the craziest thing. I woke up somewhere in the middle of the night and I was very awake and it wasn't a dream. This is what I wrote. I knew somehow I just said, I got to write this down because it was more like a thought.
Okay.
It's funny. So my natural state is unsettled. It doesn't serve me, but being different is like putting a shoe on a cat and expecting it to carry on its cat-like ways. Huh? I mean, it was kind of like a dream. It was like, because when I looked at it a couple days later, I was like, what? It was one of those like,
I would say that's a dream pretending to just be a thought.
yes, it was exactly. It was a dream pretending to be a thought, or a thought pretending to be a dream, or something.
What do you what does that remind you of? Because people do that.
Do what?
Put shoes on their animals.
And you've seen the animals that go like this. They like shake it. They're like,
yeah,
this is wrong. It's wrong. That's just what
I can't be my natural self. My cat.
Right. You're trying to make me into like a human. Like you're trying to make it like my feet can't, whatever it is, your feet can't get dirty or wet or cold.
That's right.
I'm good with it.
Mine are calloused.
They're naturally made for that. And
exactly.
So
that's interesting. So what does that remind you of? Can't put me in a box.
Yeah, it's like trying to make me do so. Like, so I think that there's a part of me that that feels like the part of me that feels, I'm just going to say it like this. I don't know if I can say this on air, fucked up. Yeah. The part of me feels like I'm not okay, whatever that is, you know, I have to fix it. It's like the way that I think that, I think that we think we need to fix ourselves. And I'm really been working that piece. And it's like, nope, yep, I'm not perfect. I'm sometimes I'm really sped up. My energy is really sped up. So that's hard for some people. Sometimes I'm really anxious. That's hard for some people. Sometimes I just move too fast. That's hard for some people. And you know what? Too bad.
Yeah.
I think that's really the conclusion I'm coming to. Is like, if I want for myself to slow down because it's better for me, then I'm going to work on that. But I'm not going to do it because it's being asked of me because it's making somebody else uncomfortable.
Good. Truth, that's really so good. I mean, I try to teach that to my child. You are your greatest advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Your best friend really loves you. He is himself. He's his own guy, and that's not to say that we don't love and care for our friends and loved ones. Just to say that, I have to open my mouth at the hospital and say, and this actually is a true story, and say, they found a nodule in my thyroid, and then it had like a biopsy, and he said, we can't tell. We won't be able to tell until we remove it, if it's cancerous or not. And so they wanted me to sign something that says that they can remove, I guess, the left lobe of my thyroid. And then if that is cancerous, they can remove the right lobe. And I said, no. I said, there's nothing in my right lobe that I know of. I don't want to be on Synthroid. I'm already on enough medications for multiple sclerosis. Yeah. I don't want to be on Synthroid too for the rest of my life. Right. And I wouldn't sign it. So they had to go back to the computer, write a new release thing to sign that they could only take out the left lobe. And thank goodness they took out the left lobe, and it was benign, not cancerous. And there was no rash thinking surgeon like, oh, we should just take this out. Like, right. No, you advocate for you.
It's wonderful that you did that. My God, to have to not get caught up in the fear of it. I mean, so many people would have just said, yeah, take it out,
No, I know, right? And
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 I'm glad you didn't.
I also don't give my authority like so easily.
Yeah.
I've always been pretty, you know, much strong enough to speak up.
Yeah. That's really wonderful. And that's, a great example of that. Yeah. Just saying, hey, this is what I want. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I know. Yeah, this is what's going to work for me. Yeah. And that's not easy to do, especially in the medical world. My God,
And there was a moment I had a hard time on the anesthesia. There was a moment where I was like, I just have gotten them both removed because God forbid this is cancerous. I'm going to have to go under again and go through this again. So there was that moment of self-doubt. Like, oh, what if that was a mistake? But I, stood by it and thank God.
I'm so glad it was benign. That's a huge relief.
Thank you. And Dr. Bayer is his name up at Albany Medical. He has, I guess, interns call me every couple of years to see if the one lobe of my thyroid is like doing the job in the place of the two, and if I'm still not on medication.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's what we were on about the cats, putting shoes on cats, and you can't do that. You can do that, but cat is not going to like it at all.
No.
Yeah. So just being myself, allowing myself, and being good with that, being good with what I'm capable of and what I can do, and not taking on anything, I don't know, that doesn't feel like
good.
like the fixing myself, I think piece of it is very important. Like that part that says, I'm not gonna keep fixing. I am not a perfect human, and I accept some of those parts of me. I accept those things that are, I know, difficult for some people.
Not some of, all of.
Well, all of, I guess all, yeah. Yeah. Whoever's in my life is going to have to somehow be okay with it. There's going to have to be a negotiation around it.
Sure.
Same with everybody.
I saw the funniest comedian, Zoltan Karzis or something. And he said, he was talking about Gen Z. And he was like, and Gen Z, this many people are diagnosed with whatever mental illness. And he said, but they're like, yeah, I've been diagnosed with this illness and I'm not going to do anything about it. I figure you guys just all work around me.
That's funny. That's so funny.
He said it much better, but that is so funny.
But there is that attitude amongst that age group. You have to deal with it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I think I can be done with that image, and would love to hear now what your dream images are.
Hey, so these all could be from the same dream. They've kind of taken that shape in my mind that I've been thinking about it over and over, but also they're three distinct images. So I might talk about them all at once, but then I'll want to look at them. So I am on a beach, and it's some kind of gatherings with people around, and I think it's me. It might be someone I'm looking at. That's not clear. I think I get really sunburned on my head and my arms, like this whole, and not to a point of being in pain or like, oh my gosh, I should have had none of those thoughts came in my mind. It was just that my skin was now bright red. And there are, so that's the first image. Or maybe the beach is the first and the sunburn is the second. Then there are these two guys there, and they look so similar. And I realize, oh, these are the brothers, but then they might be the cousins. And so that was the second image. And actually, I think that's it. Those are the three images. The beach. Oh, no, and there's one other piece of this, and that's that, all right, somehow it goes from sun and sunburn to still on the beach, but like a bonfire, so it's night. So so somehow it changes then to night and there's a bonfire. And those are the three images.
And just for clarification, the guys were brothers with each other, or cousins with each other, not you.
They look like they could be identical twins, but then maybe they look more like cousins. I wasn't sure, or fraternal. I knew they were either brothers or cousins.
Okay. Okay. And let's say this is it feels like a continuation. It feels like these images could easily all be in that dream, in one dream.
Yes.
Right. So let's just say that and look at it like a dream.
Okay.
How about that? How did you feel?
I felt that there's something very significant here and I need to look at it. It felt important for me.
And how did you feel in the dream?
Like I said, I didn't have any pain or regret about the sunburn. And a matter of fact, I think it maybe wasn't me. Somebody got that sunburn, but I wasn't feeling it. So may have been me, I'm not sure. How did I feel in the dream? Nondescript? I don't remember.
Yeah. That's often how I feel in a dream. And were these guys anybody that you knew in waking life?
They were not.
And did they feel like they had significance to you in the dream?
Oh, yes. How I saw it then and still see it now is it was like an Israeli and a Palestinian. Brothers or cousins, but different from each other. And that's what it felt like too. I didn't feel like I was in Gaza. It didn't feel like I was on like an Israeli beach or like Mediterranean. I just felt like the East Coast, where I've had most of my beach experiences. So it didn't feel like that, but it also felt like it almost felt like they had come from overseas. Actually, yeah, I'm just remembering that. It felt like they had come from overseas to represent the fact that they are brothers or cousins.
Wow. I mean, that's
dad. They have the same dad, Abraham. Abraham, our father of the Bible. Abraham and Sarai at the time, I think, she wasn't able to get pregnant, but she really wanted a baby. So she had Abraham sleep with her handmaid, Hagar. She had a baby. They named him Ishmael. And then Sarah thought she'd be okay with it, but she definitely was not. And so she had Hagar and the baby banished from her land. Does that sound familiar? And then God smiled on Sarai or whatever, and then she had Isaac. And so it seemed stepbrothers. These are step.
What was the son, the Hagar's sons? Who was Hagar's son? Esau? Oh, Ishmael. Right.
Esau comes next generation.
Right. Okay, Ishmael. You're right. So that's really great story. I mean, that's the Bible story, right?
And Hagar says she's, I don't know where she is. She's banished to the wilderness, and it's a desert country, and she leaves the baby and she goes away from the baby, and she says, I cannot sit here and watch my son die, and then she cries out, and I believe that God speaks to her directly, or however God speaks, maybe through an angel, I'm not sure, but she was a holy woman. So we got these two strands of the family tree, and they are,
and they're sort of they're visiting you, whether it's them or their descendants are visiting you in the dream world.
Right.
And so does it feel like there's a yeah, you know, I mean, does it feel like it has a message? Like, I mean, that seems kind of almost obvious, but
I know families fight, and I know it cut really deep how family members feel about each other, and people can weaponize that if they're have negative feelings and are not so evolved.
yeah.
But so I know families fight. It just brings it back to the most basic. Yes, Israel and Palestine and are not on good terms with each other. And then there was this brutal attack. But I also know families fight hard, and just brings it back to, the basic thing that for me, these are brothers. I might be Jewish, and so that might sway me a little bit to the Israeli side, and someone else might be just a peace activist for social justice, and that might sway them to be on the Palestinian side. But these are, these are blood brothers.
Hmm. Hmm. Just kind of feeling some kind of poetry around the day and the night,
Yeah,
and the symbolism of fire, right? The fire of the sun burning the skin, and the fire
the
of the nighttime, So
oh,
like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Just somehow something about that, that was bringing those things together.
purifies. I mean, nothing purifies like sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like mold on a
And the ocean,
and
ocean water.
ocean water.
Yeah.
And so that's right. So there is a big purification here. And if these boys, they're like young men, if they actually swam to me, or if they took a boat, I don't know which, but they're over like an emotional, not an abyss, but like a frontier in a way. It's like they're over the water. The water is not
Right. Or like the ocean is, yeah, the emotional ocean is churning always, right? There's like emotional churning,
Yeah,
and it almost feels like somehow it feels like there's some kind of a desire, a longing to have peace. Of course, that is, my total projection, but even just in that dream, like, a bonfire, and, being in the sun and being at the ocean. And then there's these two boys, and they're, there to kind of maybe remind us of what's really
there's
true.
other people there too. Sorry, I like
Yeah.
there's other people there too, but in the script,
Yeah.
doing whatever.
Right. Gathering of some sort. Yeah.
And on a dark, shadowy beach or whatever. But nothing.
It also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It also makes me think of the terrible original bombing on the 7th of October, which was at a hippie music festival. And so when I think of a bonfire on the beach with a bunch of people around, it makes me think of like, hippies doing like a drum circle or something on the beach.
Thing to do. Oh, that's such a hippie thing to do. Oh yeah, I know.
So it makes me think like that these boys are coming, I don't know, it feels like they're coming in such peace. They're coming in such peace, coming together, as an Arab and a Jew, or a Palestinian and Israeli, or, those opposites.
I don't know if I dreamed this before or after, but I saw this thing on YouTube of different Palestinian boys or like young men talking about what they were told to do, what their orders were, and then raping, killing, kidnapping. And they're talking, and I'm like, it just begged that question. It's like, is every German responsible for the Holocaust? No. Is every Palestinian responsible for?
Of course not. Right.
And so, but seeing these boys, and it's like, I mean, but shouldn't we be strong enough not to take orders? But I can say that as a Western person, easy for me to say, I can be that. But if I'm a boy living in a culture and being brought up in a certain way with certain values, and killing my neighbor is number one of them, or one of them, then how can we blame the kid, boy, young man.
Right. Maybe they've escaped. Maybe they have escaped and they want to be in the peaceful, on the beach, and on the beach at the bonfire.
Right, they're trying to make amends in the video.
Yeah, or maybe they're trying to make amends. Yeah.
That's what it feels like to watch that video. But yes. So, and I like that, the purification, the fire, the great purifier. And the word purifier is the word fire. I only just noticed that the word fire is in the word purifier.
Yeah. Or pure fire. Yeah.
Pura vida. Pure life.
Is there anything else that you like want to know about this dream?
About the sunburn.
Yeah, do you have any associations with sunburn, being sunburned?
One thing is, like, I'm just thinking of like skin tone. So to be a white person in the hot sun could make me very red, and I don't know if I'm imagining the sun affects everyone in, one way or another. So there was maybe a piece of that. Maybe that's saying, well, who cares what you think, B? You're a white girl, white Jewish girl in America, and maybe I shouldn't have an opinion about what's happening in the Middle East, or maybe it's not even related to that at all, but it really feels like that. It really feels like the sunburn set me apart from these brown boys, Israeli and Palestinian.
There's another way to look at that too, in that, the sunburn makes your skin darker. So even though it's red, different color, but it's like it makes your skin darker to fit in with that, maybe to kind of try on what does it feel like to have darker skin. I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch, but it's, we're talking the dream world. So who knows?
That I wasn't affected by the sunburn. In fact, I don't know if it was me. I didn't have chills. It didn't hurt. I didn't start peeling, just that I saw it and I noticed it and I made a note of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, as a way to sort of relate to these dark skinned boys, like, to have darker skin. I don't know. That's kind of an interesting thing. Yeah.
So thank you so much to go through those with me. Are you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Your snippets?
Yeah, totally. Sometimes it's good to just say them and, get a little, I think, they were, they're juicy, the little snippets, right? Just a little water, beach, fire, there all these elements, like that's, air, like there's a lot in that. There's a lot in that to chew on, really.
And I like honoring even the snippets because I want my unconscious mind to know that I'm taking all the material to heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Dream material, and I feel this way kind of honors even the little bits.
Yes, and it's almost like I honor the little bits, and so maybe the dream gods and goddesses will bring us more.
Yes.
For more clarity, more information.
Yes.
More soul knowledge.
I love it. Well, listeners, thank you so much for joining us. And we wish you Holomod Metukim.